Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, Manila Mayor Isko Moreno sees no need to apologize to Vice President Leni Robredo after publicly calling for her to back out of the presidential race. But Moreno's running mate Willie Ong came to Robredo's defense. Senator Leni Lacson says he had no idea Moreno would go off script during the Easter Sunday press conference and call for Robredo's withdrawal. Isko Moreno's campaign manager Lito Banayo and Lacson's spokesperson Ace Acedillo join us live. The aftermath of the controversial Easter Sunday press conference of the three presidential candidates is taking new twists and turns. Senator Lacson refutes claims of vice presidential candidate Lito Atienza that running mate Manny Pacquiao had no intention of joining the event. But Senator Pacquiao's campaign manager, Buddy Zamora, tells a different version of the story. Lacson and Manila Mayor Isko Moreno see no need to apologize to Vice President Leni Robredo. Lacson insists he did not support Moreno's call for her to back out, while Moreno claimed the Robredo camp asked him to withdraw too. The Manila Mayor's running mate, Willie Ong, came to Robredo's defense. Former Defense Secretary Norberto Gonzales apologized to Robredo, but her camp says the apology was unnecessary. Let's go straight to the source of the story. First off, we have Mayor Isko Moreno's campaign manager, Lito Banayo. Mr. Banayo, welcome to The Source. Thank you so much for your time.
Good morning, Pinky, and thank you for having me this particular opportunity.
Press con of Mayor Isko Moreno last Sunday. Still, he's standing by his call for Vice President Leni Robredo to withdraw. He again actually repeated the call yesterday when interviewed by reporters during his campaign sortie. What is your take in all this?
Well, first of all, let me clarify things, Pinky. The joint statement that was signed and was pre-approved at about 10:30 or 11 in the morning by the three candidates present was actually drafted by the camp of Secretary Norberto Gonzales and was presented only in that morning, and nobody found any objection to that. In fact, Senate President Tito Soto even was on the phone with Senator Manny Pacquiao, who said that unfortunately he was still in the tarmac waiting to take off from General Santos. But then the schedule was at 11:30, so we couldn't wait. And he said he would join the moment he lands in Manila. But, well, things probably didn't go right insofar as his schedules were concerned, so he was not able to attend. Having said that, the statement of Mayor Isko Moreno about asking Leni, Vice President Leni, to withdraw was an offshoot of what Secretary Gonzales analyzed as the number two candidate not being able to breach the ceiling that had such a huge gap between the numbers of number one and number two, something like 30 points or even higher a difference. No, that plus the knowledge from both public surveys as well as our own internal surveys that there is a huge anti-Leni vote. There is a huge dislike for her as a candidate, as against a very little dislike on the part of Mayor Isko Moreno. So that was where it was coming from. We are the second choice among all the candidates. And we believe that if given the chance, we can breach the ceiling that is presently the numbers of Vice President Leni. Of course, that is our opinion. That is our reading of facts. And that was explained by Mayor Isko. And he said very clearly, sarili niya yon. Hindi niya sinabing pinag-usapan nilang tatlo yon. No? So walang pinag-usapan talagang ganon. It was taken off from what Secretary Norberto Gonzales explained during the press conference.
Mr. Banayo, there's a lot of questions I need to follow up. Let me start with this. Why was it the team of Secretary Norberto Gonzales who drafted this statement?
No, kasi ang nangyari dyan, I think that was about April, before the second debate, which was April 3, the second COMELEC-sponsored debate, which was April 3, there was this withdrawal of support from former Speaker Bebot Alvarez to Senator Ping Lacson, and a common friend of Isko, friend of Ping, suggested, what about calling a press conference, both of them, wala pa yung iba, stating that they are in the game, they're not going to withdraw and all that, no? Because of these pressures. Senator Ping was amenable to it, except that he said he would process it further. And then I think about a week after the presidential debate, nagpasabi si Senator Lacson na kinausap din niya si Secretary Norberto Gonzales, who in turn I think talked to spokesperson, Secretary Abella, and he also talked to Manny Pacquiao, no? So parang joint press con na. And we would have to meet about 30 minutes to an hour before the schedule of the press conference to approve a manifesto of support, which apparently, as far as I understand it, was drafted by the staff of Secretary Gonzales, but presented to us, and we found nothing objectionable about it.
But you did not feel the need that someone from your team or possibly somebody from Senator Ping Lacson's team should draft this manifesto? It wasn't important for you guys.
No, because the purpose of the press conference was to state that nobody is withdrawing.
Yeah.
No. So wala namang there was mutual trust kay Senator Ping, no, who was the one carrying the ball actually here, no. So may tiwala kami sa kanyang if my understanding kasi is si Secretary Gonzales staff yung nag-draft, but I presumed na, or we presumed na approved na yon ni Senator Lacson, because kami na lang ang nagbasa sa amin na lang binigay para basahin o para i-review, no? So ibig sabihin accepted na yon ni Senator Ping.
Okay. So all right, but who really initiated this? Because when you said that the time that former Speaker Alvarez withdrew his support from Senator Ping Lacson and moved and endorsed Vice President Leni Robredo, sabi mo, doon nag-usap si Senator Ping at si Mayor Isko. Tama ho ba?
Hindi nag-usap silang personal. A common friend broached the idea.
I see.
I don't even know who that common friend is, no? Hindi galing sa akin yung idea.
Okay.
No? It came from that common friend of theirs.
All right. So it's a common friend that you don't remember who this person is.
No, I did not want to ask who, because confidences yan. I did not want to ask Mayor Isko who it was.
Okay, so that happened. Now, with regards to the call of Mayor Isko Moreno for Vice President Leni Robredo to withdraw, you named a number of concerns and issues that led him to do this. Number one was a statement of Secretary Norberto Gonzales. Yung sinabi nga niya, malayo si number two sa number one, baka kailangan ng ibang approach dito. There is also a survey that you are talking about, wherein I believe the anti-Leni vote was at over 40%, if I'm not mistaken, and the anti-Isko vote was very small at 2%. Is that the right one, the right survey, the correct survey you're just talking about?
Yes, that is what our internal surveys show, and even the Pulse Asia survey shows that, or the SWS survey also shows that the satisfaction rating, the approval rating of Vice President Leni Robredo compared to other incumbent officials is quite low. In fact, in some, it's even negative, no? So that's where we're coming from. But also in retrospect, please take note that it was the camp of Vice President Leni who, right after Isko Moreno declared his availability to run for the presidency, immediately launched this hashtag Isko Moreno withdraw. No? Ganon. And the Vice President never stopped. I mean, assuming for the sake of argument, hindi siya ang nagsabi, pero she never stopped her supporters from saying that. Whereas si Isko Moreno and your own reporter Paulo, who's been following us in the campaign,
Right.
will take note of the fact that every time Isko Moreno speaks before a crowd, he says, huwag kayong nakikipag-away, huwag niyo awayin yung pula, huwag niyo awayin yung dilaw, no? Just spread our message, no, when he talks to his supporters. No? Sa madaling salita, we took extra effort to distance ourselves from the parang anti-BBM or anti-Leni or anti-whoever. No, we were just positing our solutions to the problems, the crises that we face. And that was it. No? Kaya masakit ang loob ni Isko. Tao yan eh. Hindi naman hipokrito si Isko. What you see is what you get, no? Kaya kaya naintindihan ko siya, and in fact even Senator Lacson said in that after the press conference na while he does not agree with the call of Isko, he understood that it was personal sentiment.
Yeah.
At sinabi naman ni Isko yan antimano, sarili ko lang ito, hindi sila
Right.
kasali dito.
So you're
Diba?
saying now, as his campaign manager, that calling out the vice president to withdraw during that press conference where the agenda was basically to tell the public that none of us are withdrawing was the right time and the right venue. What I want to find out from you is, bilang as his campaign manager, tama ho ba yung naging direction that press con took when the agenda was just supposed to go a certain direction?
It was not deliberate. No, it was not planned. I have to say that. However, I understand Mayor Isko's sentiment, especially when all three candidates, for that matter, recounted experiences where they felt that the camp of Vice President Leni was engaging in what we would call wholesale vote buying. Well, what do I mean by that? Wholesale vote buying in the sense that you inveigle an opposing candidate to back out, no, rather than giving the electorate choices. That was the issue in the press conference. So we're all running because we're giving the electorate choices, and here is a camp which actively, no, pursues a strategy or a tactic of asking competitors to withdraw in her favor, or just to withdraw for that matter, no? So yun yung nangyari dun sa press conference na yun, no? That was what brought out the angst on the part of of Mayor Isko Moreno, na hindi naman ito a contest of anti-BBM or anti-Marcos versus anti-Leni. It's a contest where we are supposed to tell the people what we stand for and why we should be the choice rather than these two opposing candidates.
Yeah, because gaya na sinabi ni Senator Ping Lacson, this is not just about Leni, this is not just about Marcos, or this is not all about Leni, this is not all about Marcos. But I'd still like to get your answer on that. As his campaign manager, was it the right venue for Mayor Isko Moreno to have called out the vice president's withdrawal during that press con last Sunday?
Well, as I said, it was not deliberate. Therefore, if it was not deliberate, it's not a question of whether it was the right timing or the right venue. It was a question of saying what you feel and telling the people as it is. No? Pinky, it's now, 69 hours or 70 hours since those statements were made in a press conference by all three participants who were present. No? Has there been any flat denial on the part of the Vice President herself, saying that what Lacson said is false, what Isko said is false, what Gonzales said is false, insofar as her camp trying to get to pressure or to put pressure on these candidates to withdraw from the contest.
All right.
No?
We need to take a very short break. This is The Source with Mr. Lito Banayo on CNN Philippines. We will be right back. Watching The Source on CNN Philippines, our guest today, Manila Mayor Isko Moreno's campaign manager, Lito Banayo. Sir Lito, I asked Senator Franklin Drilon that question yesterday about some personalities asking those gentlemen to withdraw from the presidential race, although he did say that he had nothing to do with that or he has no knowledge about it to that effect. Ang sabi po niya basically is that sa tagal na rin po niya sa politika, even you, I think you have been involved in 6 presidential campaigns, if I'm not mistaken. Bahagi daw yun ng tinatawag na political landscape. So is there anything wrong with that? I mean, you also being a veteran on campaigns. This happened, he says, in 1992 between FVR and former Senate President Jovito Salonga.
Well, I have no knowledge of 1992 because at that time I was the spokesman of former Speaker Ramon Mitra, the late Ramon Mitra, and the Fernan ticket. But in mas malapit, 2016, no? Not that I was part of those camps, but when Rodrigo Duterte, his numbers were going up in March, no? And even up to April, no? Para may trajectory na to victory. There were efforts by the camp of the Liberal Party candidate, Mar Rojas, and even the late President Benigno Aquino was involved to get Grace Poe to withdraw in favor of Mar
Rojas.
But that did not pan out. No, that did not pan out. And eventually, if you will notice, at that time, it was a fight between Grace Poe and Duterte, and number 3 si Mar. But eventually, what happened was, because hindi pumayag si Grace, nag-number 1 pa rin. Lalong lumakas si, di ba, si Duterte, and nag-number 2 si Mar, and nag-number 3 si Grace, no? Although very close yung difference. No? So talagang nangyayari yan. But is it right? No? I mean, that's my point here. No? Hindi porket nangyayari yan, no? It is right because we are here precisely to present choices to the public. And never has elections been this polarized. Our society, our polity has been so polarized between the anti-Marcos and the anti-Leni camps. No? Kaya nga may mga other choices. That is the thesis that Secretary Gonzales was pointing out. No? Yeah. May mga iba namang choices, no? Na neither one or anti the other, but presenting simply solutions to the crisis that we face.
And we look at the others, just basing on the Pulse Asia survey. I did read a columnist write about this. Talking about Secretary Norberto Gonzalez's yung number 2, parang hindi kasi effective, sabi niya, laban kay number 1, so maghanap tayo ng iba. But you have Manila Mayor Isko Moreno at 8. Senator Ping Lacson at 2. Senator Manny Pacquiao was not there. 8 plus 2, that's 10. Versus what? At 24. It was also Senator Drilon who said, I don't know if he used the word absurd, but this is the first time narinig niya na si number 2 yung pinapaalis para maiwan po yung mga sumusunod. Pero you are a campaign manager. If you look at those numbers, are those numbers something you don't believe in? Or is there something else that you are seeing that is beyond the numbers we're flashing on the screen right now?
Well, we're seeing different numbers in our internal surveys and in other surveys, no, na hindi publicly announced, no. But be that as it may, no, the Filipino voter is not a one-track mind voter. The Filipino voter is in fact quite fickle. Nagbabago ng isip, no. Of course, first there was the possibility that Ferdinand Marcos Jr. would be disqualified. No? So that was the reason, I guess, why pollsters asked you second choice. No? But now, even without the disqualification angle, because I guess it's too late in the game to speculate about that, no? People can still change their minds. There's still 20 days before election day, 18 days of campaign, no? For people to change their minds, for people to start sifting, no, through the issues and thinking that number 3 or number 4 may be better choices than either number 1 or number 2, no? Posible pa yan, no? That's what we're saying.
Even at Bongbong Marcos at 56%. Off-air, we were talking about how unprecedented his numbers are from the past couple of months, because this is a first time hindi ho ba na may presidential candidate na majority yung pumili sa kanya, which is basically over 50%.
Yeah, majority, but that is because of the Sara vote, no? You remember prior to the political marriage between the Marcoses and the Dutertes, no? It was a more or less an even Steven game among 3 candidates, or 3 leading candidates, even 4 actually leading candidates at that time, until Sara Duterte gave the bulk of the Mindanao and half of the Visayas votes to Ferdinand Marcos Jr. No? So that is the
That
story
changed the game.
of it. That changed the game, obviously.
Thank you so much, Manila Mayor Isko Moreno's campaign manager, Mr. Lito Banayo. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pinky. All the best.
To you too. Coming up, more on the events that unfolded from the Easter Sunday press conference. We'll now speak to Senator Ping Lacson's spokesperson, Ace Acedillo, after the break. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Our source today, Senator Ping Lacson's spokesperson, Ace Acedillo. Mr. Acedillo, welcome to The Source. Thank you also for your time. So let's just already make it clear. Senator Ping Lacson feels no need to apologize to Vice President Leni Robredo. Simply put, he says he never asked her to withdraw from the presidential race.
That's correct, Pinky, and good morning, by the way, and to all our televiewers also. And secondly, he did not utter any falsehood or make any false accusation. So for those 2 reasons, I believe it is there's no need, rather, for any apology.
In the interview, there was an interview yesterday with Senator Ping Lacson by reporters. I believe he was in Iloilo. He actually made that statement saying wala naman siyang sinabing mali. Sabi niya, all he did was state facts. And I think it went as far as the time that he was being asked to withdraw from the presidential race. Is that not correct, sir? Is that correct, sir?
Yeah, that's correct. No, going back to the press con, there were really 2 major points there. No, one, what that was clear was stated in the statement, agreed statement nila. No, and pangalawa, syempre, yung common sentiment among the 3 candidates, which of course was revealed upon the Q&A with the press afterward.
Yeah, but he already distanced himself, of course, from the remarks or statements made by Manila Mayor Isko Moreno on the withdrawal. Ano po, sabi nga niya, there's no need to apologize because I never called for that anyway. But how did he feel about it? Because Secretary Norberto Gonzales had already said when that happened, he felt uncomfortable. Si Senator Ping Lacson po, ano yung kanyang naramdaman nung nagsabi po na mag-withdraw na si Leni Robredo by Manila Mayor Isko Moreno?
Even before the Sunday press con, Pinky, he has already made his position very clear. No? Ayaw niya yung patuloy na panawagan na mag-withdraw siya. And at the same time, to be consistent with that sentiment, ayaw niya rin na to make that same call to the other candidates. And he reiterated that while he was still on the stage and immediately after when he had an interview together with his tandem, Senate President Tito Soto, immediately after the press con.
Right. Let's talk about the final stretch of the campaign. Again, just going back to the Pulse Asia survey, Senator Ping Lacson at 2%. Yeah, is at 2%. Is he confident that the numbers will change or his numbers will improve The next Pulse Asia survey is supposed to come out end of April.
Well, that is the hope, Pinky, ano? And at the same time, we're not just banking on hope. Both our air and ground campaigns reflect that that energy that still remains to finish out the campaign and hopefully finish strong. So that's where we are right now in terms of the campaign. Pinky.
Was there some sort of messaging that needed to be improved dun sa pag-iikot po ni Senator Ping Lacson and Senate President Tito Soto?
Well, yeah, the biggest the biggest adjustment we've made so far in terms of messaging is that what we've noticed kasi is that Senator Ping Lacson is a very strong number 2 in terms of the second choice, no? So ang tingin namin dito bilang kampanya is we need to convince people that hindi sayang ang boto nila kay Panfilo Ping Lacson bilang presidente, and even Tito Soto as vice president, because the basis should not be winnability but rather the voters' very own principles as well as the competence and the character of the candidate. And in this case, in terms of competence, no, I mean, who better than the tandem of Ping Lacson and Tito Soto, who have a combined 80 years in public service. And of course, hindi naman din matatawaran yung karakter ng dalawang kandidatong ito.
All right. Senator Ping Lacson's spokesperson, Ace Acedillo. Sir, thank you also for your time.
Maraming salamat, Pinky, and good morning to everyone.
Thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.